This ceremony is used to say thank you for faithful service, to wish good luck in future endeavors, and bid a heartfelt farewell as a member transitions into Air Force retirement. Through this transition, we must remember that military retirement is just an extension of an active duty career. A retired Air Force member will continue to be a valuable part of the United States Air Force community. Today we have the pleasure of recognizing Master Sergeant Brandon Innis on the occasion of his retirement from active duty, culminating over 20 years of faithful and honorable service in the United States Air Force. Officiating today's ceremony will be First Lieutenant Austin Sewell.
His older sister Julie and her daughter Jackson, Brandon's twin brother Stephen, along with his daughter Rylan, and his younger sister Jenna and her husband Sean. And obviously Brandon's beautiful immediate family is also in attendance. To his wife Kristen, daughters Sloan, Collins, and Stevie, thanks for letting me be here, for all that you've done to support Brandon in this journey. 20 years, 5 days. What an incredible amount of time Brandon and his family have sacrificed in the service of this great nation, as he is now being recompensed by being able to honorably retire and carry his knowledge and experience on into the civilian world. I know some of you have heard these stats before, but I would like to share them to help show just how special is serving in the military. Of that percentage, less than 17% will ever make it at least 20 years or more to have the privilege to retire. When looking even at that number of all military retirees currently living within the United States, they represent only 0.64% of the population. Brandon has never needed statistics to tell you how special he is. Normally he will tell you that himself. But what he and his family have accomplished is truly remarkable. I had the privilege of working with Master Sergeant Innis for a year back in Fullerton Flight, starting in 2018. Just last year we got to work together again as we were both functioning as production superintendents. For anyone who doesn't know what that means, we basically got to drive around the flight line, hold radios, tell people what to do at all hours of the night. It was a great time. Anyone who knows Brandon knows that he has a lot of wisdom to impart. I cannot tell you how many times I've heard any number of his catchphrases. I cannot even think of Master Sergeant Innis without being reminded of the words empowering versus enabling, Raj, values, and what I value as a person, and any number of short stories and anecdotes about turkeys, eagles, and anything else you can impress upon the younger generations while standing on a soapbox. I smile as I remember walking around the shop and later the flight line, and we get to witness Brandon acting as an intrusive leader should. Constantly mentoring, constantly leading, constantly reminding troops of the importance of their work, the bigger mission impact, and that every job mattered. It did not matter what hangar we were in, who the airmen technically belonged to. Master Sergeant Innis would soon have a horseshoe of airmen standing around him. He was there to mentor everyone, and he was there to lead. We can only hope to have more engaged leaders like him in this great Air Force. Brandon grew up near San Diego, California, where he recalls getting into mischief with his twin brother. Aside from learning to ride three-wheelers with no suspension, apparently it was cool to have what he called chromies. He had explained to me. That's the chrome-covered valve stem cap that you can put on your bike tires. I guess that made you cool in the neighborhood. So Brandon recalls occasionally going to the elementary school on PTA nights to acquire these coveted caps from the parents' vehicles in the parking lot. His father, who majored in geology and loves dirt bikes, instilled that same love and respect for the outdoors and dirt bikes into Brandon. The Innis family then moved to Indiana, where Brandon attended Rushville Consolidated High School. There he met his wife, Kristen, in their junior year of high school. Supposedly, she thought Brandon was a little pretentious and a bit of a cool kid in his Letterman jacket. I can't imagine why she thought that, but in telling me this story, he casually stated to me that he lettered not just in one varsity sport, but in soccer, swimming, and track, and he still holds the high school breaststroke record. After helping roof her house and hanging with a group of friends, Brandon convinced Kristen to go out with him. He affectionately remembers that their first kiss was on the 4th of July. They were told that they could not see each other anymore, but like the great mission-oriented leader Brandon would become, he assessed the risks and chose to continue to sneak out with Kristen. They've been together ever since. Brandon joined the Air Force the summer after high school, and Kristen went off to college. Brandon had written a report on the Ram Air engines on the SR-71, and he knew that he wanted to be an engine mechanic. After talking to a recruiter, he waited 3 months to be able to get a job in propulsion. Due to extenuating circumstances, both he and his brother left for basic training on the same day. They were in the same flight with different bays, and Master Sergeant Innis recalls it took the training instructor about 3 weeks to realize that there were 2 of them. His brother started out in maintenance as well, but has since transitioned to intel where he is thriving. Master Sergeant Innis has had an exceptional career, but I should mention all of the lies that recruiters tell young high school kids to get them to join the Air Force, lies like that you work banking hours, you'll get to choose your base, you'll get to see the world, you'll get deployments to beaches, and have a good family life, to name a few of the many promises. Somehow, they all came true in some fashion for Brandon. Right out of basic training, Brandon was given the base he wanted in order to stay close to Kristen. He was sent to Blackman Air Force Base in 2001. Brandon lit up as he recalled this experience and this period in his life, jobbing out for long hours on the flight line and getting to see the fruits of his labors. In 2003, he left on an absolutely brutal deployment to Diego Garcia, which is an island in the Indian Ocean with beautiful beaches. They did have it rough, however. They had to work a whole 4 weeks before getting 2 weeks off to hit the beach. And when the beach got boring, there was always the pool. Many incredible memories were formed on this deployment when the guys weren't hanging out at the Brick Club or convincing the locals to take them water skiing. I will start with the more lighthearted memories, and for legal reasons, I will mention that all stories told throughout my speech only allegedly happened. None have been confirmed. Brandon recalls on many occasions that there were acquisitions missions where he would head on over to the back shops at odd hours to acquire beer when the flight line guys ran out. He also was awakened one night by his buddy Chad frantically telling him that he needed to witness what he was about to do. Brandon walked out of his tent to watch Chad fire up a bulldozer, drive it out of Tent City, and joyride it around the base. Aside from witnessing Grand Theft Auto, Brandon recalls just how united they all felt as they carried on their duties. He worked hand in hand with the crew chiefs, jumping tubes and assisting with tasks outside of his normal job. They were allowed to sign the 5,000-pound bunker buster bombs that they would load up onto their B-1s just to watch the jets come back empty from Iraq later. What a meaningful way for him and his peers to get to see the direct mission impact of their labors. He mentioned multiple times that the pilots and commanders would buy beer and hang out with the maintainers after a successful mission. The deployment cemented in Brandon's mind the importance of what he was doing and the overarching impact that every maintainer should feel and be aware of as they fix jets and send them into war. One of his profoundest moments was watching 4 B-2s, 3 B-1s, and 2 B-52s take off in sequence to go bomb Iraq. To this day, he mentions that seeing pilots tip their wings for maintainers when they deploy into theater or on a mission still gives him chills. Once reporting to Whiteman, then Senior Airman Innis found himself helping a couple pilots troubleshoot engine vibrations on the B-1. He told them to throttle it up a little to see if they could duplicate the issue, and the next thing he knows, they jumped the chocks, destroying some equipment and sending maintainers running for their lives out from under the jet. Somehow it became Senior Airman Innis' job to remind pilots to hold down the brakes before throttling up the engines. Brandon and Kristen were married in 2004. In 2005, Brandon left on yet another brutal deployment, this time to Guam for 6 months. He summed up that experience in a few sentences by saying, Wednesday wing nights, phenomenal. Golf courses with crabgrass, immaculate. And volleyball courts that belonged on a movie set. Brandon assured me that he has a picture of him spiking a volleyball looking better than the entire cast of Top Gun. His buddy Ben would also routinely wake him up at odd hours of the night to go on runs around base. In spite of the relatively good times, Master Sergeant Innis missed his wife dearly and stated that the minutes spent on the phone with her throughout his 20-year and 5-day career would be immeasurable. Later in 2005, they were sent on to their next base, Lakenheath. While some people might complain about living in England and all the traveling that you get to do, Brandon loved it and had countless stories to tell about how he and his wife traveled around that side of the world. They visited many Greek islands, got lost in Prague, where Kristen jumped into navigator mode and found their hotel. They visited Italy, met with his sister and Julie in Spain. They went to Switzerland. And after a whiskey tour in Scotland and staying in a hotel in Edinburgh that made the hotel in The Shining look like a resort, Brandon swears he saw the Loch Ness Monster. They did, however, get robbed twice in England, losing their dirt bikes, so that's probably a little bit of karma for all the awesome travels he got, perfect bases. In 2010, 5 months before leaving England, their first daughter, Sloane, was born, and Brandon was thrilled to be a dad. After Lakenheath, the Innis family was sent to Tinker Air Force Base, where Brandon worked in the depot. He recalls working banker's hours and not a single weekend duty for 6 years. Nevertheless, he missed the flight line. Their next daughter, Collins, was born in 2012, and they could not be happier as their family grew. Master Sergeant Innis did not have much else to say about this time period until I jokingly asked him if it was a big deal to be step promoted or not. This was something that I saw as I was looking through his EPRs. A step promotion is a huge deal and means that an individual is deemed fit to promote to the next rank outside of what might be considered a normal cycle. For as much as I've joked about Brandon liking to talk, he's a humble guy. He did not think, bless him, did not think to bring up the fact that he was step promoted to tech sergeant by General Litchfield in front of all of his coworkers in Kristen. I can't imagine a better candidate for such an honor. In 2015, their youngest daughter, Stevie, was born. In spite of being a hard-working father and a leader in the Air Force, Brandon has always found time to have innocent fun and to stay in touch with his friends. He would rattle off all their names when recounting stories and wanted honorable mentions for all these people, and I kept asking, are they going to be here? And he's like, no, but you got to talk about them. I'm like, okay, sounds good. That's just the kind of guy that Brandon is. He always wants to make sure his friends and family are included, and it was awesome to get to talk to him about it all. So he told me about a time that they went to Supercross in St. Louis, Missouri, with Blaine, Chris, Chad, Jason, and Mason. These full-grown men thought it would be fun to take furniture from every floor in their hotel, to include decorative plants, and stack them in the elevator before sending it down to the lobby. They might have gotten chased out of hotels and some other things with other experiences together, but it sounds like he's always had a great group of friends. Brandon has found ways to enjoy even the most stressful of times at work through similar innocent breaks and antics, especially when he was working on the flight line. In 2016, the Innis clan moved to Mountain Home, Idaho. Master Sergeant Innis was sent to the back shop, where he took his flight line and B1 knowledge and was able to apply it and mentor a younger generation. This is where we met, worked side by side for over a year. Brandon was the go-to guy to handle a myriad of concerns within the shop, and ended up leading the jet engine intermediate maintenance section with Master Sergeant Lashley while he helped break records for the number of engines produced in a month. Master Sergeant Lashley started laughing when I called him, as he remembered Master Sergeant Innis and all the things that they would talk about, all the things that they went through. But he specifically remembered Brandon wanting so badly for people to understand what their mission impact was, so he drew an extremely accurate and 2-scale fighter jet on the whiteboard and depicted it dropping bombs. It explained to everyone that that is what we're here to do. Brandon found ways in any circumstance to impress upon his people what it was that he felt they needed to know. There are countless airmen on this base and throughout the Air Force who have been individually mentored by Master Sergeant Innis. In 2018, Master Sergeant Innis was finally granted his wish to return to the flight line, now as a production superintendent. Around that time, they also bought a house on the river where Brandon and his family have been able to build the life that they want. Between home improvement projects and spending time in the woods, camping, hiking, spending time together, and fulfilling his dream that his whole family would know how to ski. Speaking of home improvement projects, however, Brandon likes to let people come work on his house, and I should publicly declare on behalf of a couple of people in this room that there is no installation warranty on your beautiful custom kitchen window, and hopefully you guys don't get any 50-mile-per-hour winds anytime soon. Master Sergeant Innis was lucky enough to start and end his career doing what he loves, jumping out on the flight line. With countless memories between those two periods, I asked Master Sergeant Innis about some of his fondest memories throughout his career, and without fail, friends, family members, or his wife were always mentioned. One such simple memory that impacted him was was the first time he came home from a long day of work, and he vividly remembers that Kristen had a cold can of Heineken cracked and waiting for him as he walked through the door. He mentioned he could not emphasize enough her impact, and that Kristen has always been his purpose, the logic to his sometimes scattered thoughts, and the person to always keep him grounded. He is looking forward to the opportunity to support her and pay back a small amount for undying support over the last 20 years and 5 days as they spend time putting their family before his next strike or assignment. While he's obviously most proud of his happy family and 3 beautiful daughters, Brandon had a few additional moments in the Air Force that came up. He took pride in the fact that he was so busy jobbing out early on in his career that he did not have time to chase awards. In spite of that, he was honored with a Leo Marquez in 2008. This was even more of an honor to him because the Leo is a maintenance-specific award reserved for those who stand out within the career field. He also fondly remembered being coined after painstakingly searching a borescope in the cockpit of a jet for 4 hours until finally finding a foreign object that had been dropped. Brandon found time to finish a bachelor's in professional aeronautics with a certificate in safety. A couple real-life safety lessons learned from MSgt Innis over his career are that you probably should not fire up an engine inside of a hangar, and that you definitely need full brake deflection when throttling an engine, or you will jump chunks, even if you're a pilot. Some advice from MSgt Innis as he looks back on an extremely successful career is to be proactive, be positive, and to always love your family. One of his favorite quotes to live by is that you cannot fly with the eagles when you surround yourself with turkeys. When I look at MSgt Brandon Innis, I see a man who has surrounded himself with good people throughout his life. A man who has put his family first, a man who loves his country, enough to have given 2 decades in its service. Our nation is grateful.
Meritorious Service Medal to Master Sergeant Brandon Innis. Master Sergeant Brandon L. Innis distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Production Superintendent, 366 Maintenance Squadron, 366 Fighter Wing, Mountain Home Air Force Base, Idaho. During this period, Sergeant Innis excelled as a Materials Support Section Chief, during which he coordinated technical data corrections with Pratt & Whitney engineers, resulting in the elimination of an unsafe turbine lift fixture flaw. His action prevented personal injury and possible death Air Force-wide, which resulted in him being awarded the 366 Maintenance Squadron's 2016 Maintenance Support Professional of the 4th Quarter. Additionally, Sergeant Innis steered a war-ready engine shortage recovery when he rallied 6 crews in the production of 2 engines within 1 week and only 81% manning, boosting the engine spare level to 150%. His leadership led the production of 58 engines and 14 modules, with a 20-day turnaround average, producing propulsion's flight best output in 4 years. Finally, as production superintendent, he led 487 airmen through more than 3,000 maintenance tasks and 134 inspections, resulting in a 92% overall quality pass rate. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Sergeant Innis culminate a distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force.
Speech thing, isn't it? First, we're not here today without Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, right? For the journey I've led, we have led. I want to thank the fallen. I would not be here without the people that have sacrificed for this country. It's number one in my heart. When we're here, there's always somebody downrange dodging bullets. So be blessed in the environment that we're in. Colonel Lombardo, Colonel Stevens, Chief Ullman, thank you very much. Past commanders, leaders, mentors out there. A couple people, old mentors I've had, Senior Master Sergeant Welly, pretty sure he's retired by now, and Senior Master Sergeant Fisher from my last base. We don't make it here without other people around us. I would never take the credit of my doings without the mentors that we have, the colonels, the commanders, the guidance that we get from all levels. Having that perspective, it just takes one to kind of follow those footsteps and become a leader on their own through their own practices. I guess there's very few things that motivated we all look up to. There's different things. We don't look up to a lot of people in our lives, but the things we do, we hold on to. A couple of those quotes were from Chief Master Sergeant Colin Ramon Lopez. If you want to fly with the Eagles, you can't hang out with the turkeys. He's got a lot of motivational things. It's 20 silver bullets. I've learned a lot from a few of those. I didn't look up generals. I didn't look up, big, huge names out there. But I found this special ops command chief who had a vision and a wisdom of his success, and that's kind of where I strive from. Not letting your parents down. That could be one of them. Mom, dad. But also, I do, outside from thanking the leaders, I appreciate it. Mom, Dad, thank you for everything. I appreciate it. I'm glad you could be here today and witness my retirement. Thank you so much. I love you both. It is a blessing to have my mother and father here, and hope I've made you proud. My brother's here. Thank you so much, my twin bro. If you mess with me, he'll probably tell you, do you want me to hurt him? It's kind of a relationship we've always had of being protective of each other. So protect one of your brothers here, be a family here. That's what the flight line was about for me. Protect each other. It's too much friction. Just be proactive and positive. That's kind of my whole circumstance. If you look up that Chief Carnivore Leadership, it's about being proactive and not worrying about other people. The job will get done if you're proactive, not waiting for somebody else to lead you in the right way. My sister, Julie, Jenna, thank you so much flying out. I love you all. Shawnee, love you to death. Janice Hartwell, my wife's mom, flew out twice in the last month just to see my daughter's dance recital. Thank you very much for a second time coming out. Jackson, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Ryan, thank you, Ryan. Thanks for flying out here. Friends from Lake and Heath and Costello's, thanks. Elliot's showing up, senior, all respective leaders. I appreciate you. Airmen, can't do it without you guys. You guys make it happen, right? We're just here at the moment to boss you around, but perspective is you grow into good leaders. You'll enjoy your time in the military. Stay strong, be positive. Don't let the 6 or 7 year gauntlet throw you out. That's how you have perspective and you end up having a career. Get past the 6 or 7 where it's tough and you'll have a story to tell later to mentor other people. But if you choose not to, each of you have your own way of life. I respect that too. So, my family, my daughters, my wife, you guys are everything. I drive home wanting to see my family every day. I speed, whatever, I don't know what it is. But when I leave work, doesn't matter if I'm in the Valley or Oklahoma, I always found myself speeding to get to work and speeding to get home. I don't know what that is. Even if I'm not late, I'm going fast for some reason. I don't know why I have my conscience. I think some genetics, I don't know. I didn't need a lot to motivate me. Like you said, it's when a pilot flies, knowing that perspective when he tips his wingtips to thank you is an amazing feeling because he may never come back to see his family, and that's why we're doing it. Those 1 or 2 days a year that our pilots leave and our guys deploy is an amazing thing. But it is right. Those pilots thank you. It's for the job we've done all year to get their planes ready. So that motivates me. And signing bunker busters on a B2 was amazing. It's phenomenal. You guys deploy, TDY, do whatever it is, be positive. And my soapbox is a tiny bit, right guys? You heard about it? Right? So always, if you have a gripe with each other on your own, never gripe below, right? You'll lose value. Your airmen will lose value for you if you complain below you. So always keep it neutral to your own until you need to talk to somebody privately above. That's what's gotten me through. I don't know if people look up to me or not. I hope a few do, but I don't expect everybody. But those are the things that I used to think were good leadership. And having fun, right? But anyway, to my family, I appreciate it. You guys have been a blessing in my life, my whole life, to this day. So thank you, honey, for being loyal, the most beautiful wife and loving I could ever dream of. So thank you so much for everything. And my kids, Sloan, Stevie, and Collins, you're beautiful. I get to watch you grow up. We're going to spend time. We're going to go golfing. I think that's what I want to do, but you can come with. So we're going to spend some time. Thank you for being the greatest family in the world. It's been a blessing. God bless this country. It is amazing, the best country in the world. Do not forget it, what we do here. And these planes, I like the loudness, the noise. It is amazing. Yeah, fly with the Eagles. God bless you all. Thank you for coming out, everybody, and I appreciate it.
There is no doubt that with military service comes family sacrifice. We cannot thank you enough for the support, patience, and understanding you have given Sergeant Innis.